A large portion of my audience has probably seen this video by FalseEyeD with over 100,000 views, in which he gets a direct message from Lola Loading claiming that at her current company she was terribly mistreated. And I just want to add a little bit of context to this video that a lot of people probably don't know, because a lot of context is either old and out of people's memories, or flew under everybody's radar because it wasn't quite as big of a deal, simply because VTuber news channels weren't as big of a deal when all this stuff happened. And after this video, the person who helms the company that Lola Loading works for made their own response, which a lot of people probably haven't seen. So I'm gonna create a timeline of events to give everyone context to the current situation, and I will be showing a few clips from this video as well. So let's actually start all the way at the beginning. So our story actually begins with Project Melody and DigiTrevX. And I feel like Nux Taku does a pretty good summary of events, so I'm just gonna play a snippet from his video and then we'll move on.
VTubers in the West, by and large, are independent. Melody hired this Digi individual to make her a VTuber avatar, just like I would hire an artist to make a thumbnail of mine or to make my avatar. Now, I hired that person for a job. Whatever I paid for is now mine. It's not like they now own a certain percentage of my future because they drew a picture of me and I paid for it. That's the facts. If you go by the facts, Melody is 100% in the right. Yet this Digi individual did not expect Melody to blow up nearly as big as she did. She took the internet by storm. There were these controversies around her, and she is so wholesome it only made her stronger. She was raking it in and making it big, and Digi for months on end. And I have a million receipts, if you really want to tussle with me, that I'm not going to share yet, but if I wanted to, I could, of straight up harassment for months. I own you. I made you. All your success is because of me, which is completely untrue. And if Melody would have known that this asshole was an asshole, she would have just hired someone else to make her VTuber avatar. Pretty straightforward stuff, if I do say so myself. Now, this man is straight up extorting her, trying to get her to pay him $40,000 a month, and it's not founded in any facts. It's completely delusional, and it's straight up harassment and extortion. So this dude goes along, and because Twitch's policies are absolute ass, straight up copyrights her entire channel and gives her probably one of the worst days of her life. Great. He's done more. When he saw how successful Melody was, he created a new business venture. A business venture by the name of YFU. YFU, pronounced waifu. Now, when he saw how successful Melody was and he launched this waifu campaign, he hired someone to play the role as waifu. This was not an independent VTuber, this was someone he hired. So when he kept telling Melody, you owe me everything. You have to collab with waifu all the time and get her as big as you can. Honestly, no. Quite frankly, she does not. Yo everyone, Nux from the future here. So after completing the video and having it fully edited and everything, I've managed to further research and stumble upon the DigiTrevX situation. And while there are a lot of private messages I don't feel like I need to share yet, unless this escalates further, there are a few public things that are straight up illegal, so I don't really feel bad to share this. I mean, technically, since it's public, he shared it himself. First things first, he's been known to do this in a ton of communities. He's done this with commissions on 4chan and commissions in the Vocaloid industry. He made a model, Ruka, and when Ruka quit, he said, "How dare she quit?" Even though he's just a commissioned hire, and saying, even though I was hired to make the model and I made it and was paid for it, it's not like they could just do whatever they want then. Actually, yes, that's exactly what it means. I have a million assholey Discord messages that I have no patience to share with you now, but I will keep it as backup in case I ever need to. Here's a tweet of him literally threatening to dox Melody. That's actually a felony.
There's obviously a lot more content in this video that I'm not going to play. I'm just showing the smallest possible amount to get my point across. Now, I happen to believe Nux and Melody in this particular scenario, but at the end of the day, it's a he said, she said, and I have no personal verification of any of these events. So it is ultimately a matter of opinion. But I wanted to bring it up because it ties in with YFU Baby, now Lola Loading, and before we get into Lola Loading, there's one more YFU Baby thing that I wanted to share with you. This content creator, whose name I'm not even going to try and pronounce because it looks French and I don't want to butcher that, made a pretty massive accusation firmly aimed at YFU Baby and Giga Music Group. And for those unclear, DigiTrevX is one of the staff involved with Giga Music and of course YFU Baby. Now there's a lot contained in this document, but the only thing that I am going to highlight is the accusation that this content creator produced music for YFU and Giga and never got paid. They've done a bunch of other work for Giga Music that they haven't gotten paid for, which is not immediately relevant to the story that I am currently trying to tell. I'll be sure to link all this in the description if you want to check out these accusations in this little Google document. It's full of screenshots and further accusations and etc., and I really don't want to get into it at this particular moment in time. The next relevant piece of information that you might not be aware of is an accusation made by Matt Hates All, where he claims he was mistreated by YFU Baby. His accusation is that she initiated private contact with him under false pretenses, initiated a romantic relationship, carried out a quote campaign of lies, lied about her age, solicited nudes, lied about their relationship. The list goes on. I'll include the document in the description below if you want to check it out. But basically, DigiTrevX and YFU Baby have some pretty hefty accusations laid out against them. And of course, YFU responds saying, "The accusations made against not just my company but myself are disgusting. Makes me sick to my stomach to think that a narrative was spun and blatant lies were told to slander me. That is not who I am as a person, and I will be setting things straight in a response very soon." Now, I'm not going to go over the accusations in detail, nor am I going to go over YFU's response in detail. I'm really just pointing you in the direction of where you can find more information, and really my point is this. A creator who I respect a ton and personally believe was in a business relationship with DigiTrevX and YFU Baby, and things didn't go well. Later, DigiTrevX gets further accusations of being a scumbag, and YFU defends him, all while quite possibly, although only allegedly, not being that great of a person herself. Now, almost a year later, YFU graduates and ends her relationship with DigiTrevX, at least in terms of this specific business relationship, and rebrands as Lola Loading. However, a few months after joining this new team, she ends her relationship with this new company and claims that she was terribly mistreated. And I'll go ahead and show some clips of this mistreatment from this FalseEyeD video, and I have to show it from this video because she went directly to him with a lot of this information. So, just for the sake of clarity, she specifically went to a news/drama VTuber and gave them an exclusive story, knowing that he would make a video about it on his absolutely massive channel, where he would then spread awareness about her accusations against this company that she works for, ensuring that it becomes top drama and that everyone becomes aware of this, and that everyone's first interaction with this situation is her side of the story. And here's some highlights from his video.
As Lola would then need to wait 2 months after her debut to receive any type of actual screen to react to video content with, a major staple of her YFU Baby streams as seen here. But even wilder, she would have to wait months just to receive a rendered chair to sit down in. That's right, as the Lola Loading project went on, more and more streams were demanded of her, with the expectation that this performer has to be standing the entire time, all simply because a chair was not modeled for her until later. At times, this performer would actually lay down on the ground in a bit of exaggerated showmanship, but in actuality, she was just tired and needed to sit down for even half a moment. This all being performed in a dedicated 3D studio for Lola, as Lola shared with TBS that during 1 week, the air conditioning was not functioning, leading to this talent while wearing a motion capture suit for hours on end and then days on end to perform in a studio that was running at 98 degrees Fahrenheit, which is above 36 degrees Celsius. Unfortunately, at this time, things were also not well for Taiyaki Studios, losing not not just 2 of their 3 founders, but the remaining founder being associated to a for-profit coding school that had been sued over allegedly predatory student contracts. And during all of this, that $8 million of investments was being gutted, and then leading to the Lola Loading project to lose numerous team members, including all of those associated with making music, one of the big appeals for Lola even joining. That said, there was still an expectation that Lola create a new song once a week. Yes, that's right, an original, brand new song created once a week, which includes writing lyrics, recording lyrics, placing that recording to a mix, and so much more, including even choreography. Lola would find herself then streaming for hours on end at the studio, and then staying around for hours after that, day after day, working on her music. And while on TaiyakiStudios.com, they claim they are empowering VTubers with technology. And so then eventually, Lola had no project manager, no one helping with her music, and no video editors. Taiyaki Studios at that time basically asking, why pay for those when Lola can do it?
Now, yesterday, Mr. Underhill released a video about Taiyaki Studios' response, where they attempt to combat some of the accusations made about them by Lola Loading. I'll go ahead and insert some clips from this particular video here.
Lola was in senior management at Taiyaki Studios. Lola was not a talent signed to an agency. Her title was creative director. She took a 6-figure salary, equity, benefits, and a 50% cut of Lola revenue on top of her salary. She was responsible for strategy, targets, schedule, and creative direction. The team were all artists and developers supporting Lola. Lola had no manager in the talent agency sense. Everyone, including the founder, worked on Lola's streams full-time supporting her creative direction. How her artists/team were treated. This video claims Lola had no editor. Lola had an on-site editor at all times during the project, supported by 3 remote editors we hired on Lola's recommendation. To our knowledge, Lola didn't edit a single video while at Taiyaki. Her editor edited all of the videos and created all of the thumbnails. She later asked for his help managing her socials, which he learned to support on the fly. And he was also her production assistant, managing AV, sound, and Streamlabs/OBS during every stream. Why claim that 4 people who worked on this project for months every single day simply didn't exist? If you're wondering who to believe, this lie alone should set off massive red flags. Lola averaged less than 30 hours per week of work during her time at Taiyaki, about half of the rest of the team, making her the highest paid member of the team on an hourly basis by a wide margin. This left the team with an absentee creative director who could not provide direction, communications, or support they needed to move the project forward. Many artists and colleagues were left hanging or ghosted at critical times during the project. Over time, people did leave the project, including the entire music team. Though, due to the aforementioned issues, not a single one of Lola's songs was produced with the music team after months of them trying to work with her. The previous artists the music team lead worked with have billions of streams. This was a huge missed opportunity. She didn't actually release a song a week, despite setting that target for herself. Lola alone spent $17K on her corporate card. This was on top of her 6-figure salary and the 50% cut of Lola revenue. She took weeks of paid vacations. Our records show that she made multiple times more as Lola than she did as waifu, with far more relaxed work conditions. This video takes Lola's own decisions and frames them as being imposed on her. For example, the team came in to support stream when the AC was broken, even though it never reached 98 Fahrenheit. Which is about, I think, 36 degrees Celsius for the rest of everybody else. Because Lola wanted to stream from the studio instead of from home, not the other way around.
Now, despite Taiyaki Studios releasing their own response, a full day later, FalseEyeD has not made a new video going over Taiyaki Studios' response to Lola Loading. Now, it's entirely possible that he simply hasn't gotten around to it, and will do so in the near future, but just in case he doesn't, I figured you should be aware of the counter-argument against Lola's claims. Now, at the end of the day, I have no idea what's true and what's not. All I have is he said, she said, and accusations, and I am genuinely not making this video to attack anyone. I just want you, the audience to have as much context as possible and to take everything you hear with a grain of salt. And the last thing I'll say about this whole situation is that if this is the type of news that you enjoy consuming and you like to stay on top of all the latest news and drama and he said, she said, it's always best to get your news from multiple sources to make sure you're getting the full picture and not just one person's side of the story. That is all I have to say. I'm very curious to hear what all of you have to say in the comments down below. Bye, guys.